Hey everyone, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be going back to my roots a little bit. I feel like I haven't done a true doodle tutorial in quite some time, and since we are the hashtag Lil Doodles, I figured it's about time we do one again. If you haven't seen my April plan with me and bullet journal setup, I'll link it above as well as down below. As usual, this tutorial will act kind of as a supplement or complement to that video, and I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do the hot air balloon doodles that I used throughout the whole month and for that theme. If you're new to my channel, be sure to click that subscribe button down below, and you can also check out my Instagram for more doodle and art fun. But without further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. As usual, I'm going to start by explaining the basics of drawing hot air balloons. Now, I think the main mistake people make when they're drawing hot air balloons is that they go straight in and try to do the bulb shape of the hot air balloon at first. But if you do that, it's likely that it'll be uneven and there'll be weird bulges and it won't look good. So I tend to prefer to go in with pencil first, do a rough circle, and then an oval underneath it, and then to connect these two shapes. And then you get the perfect hot air balloon. I just really highly recommend that you use pencil beforehand, even just to do the basic shapes. It's not like I use pencil to sketch out every single little detail. It's only that main big circle and the oval, and that way you can make sure that your hot air balloon shapes look perfect once you outline them, and it also helps when you're drawing multiple to kind of map out where you want the actual hot air balloons. After you outline it with your fine liner, you can draw some lines straight down from the small oval. These are the strings of the hot air balloon, and then you're just going to draw a little cylinder at the bottom. To fill in the hot air balloon, there's so many different options, but the basic one is to follow the curves of the hot air balloon and do these sort of vertical stripes. You can color in the hot air balloon as you see fit, but that's basically it. This is a simplified version of a hot air balloon. Pretty easy to draw. This is almost like level 1 version of hot air balloons, but I wanted to show you a couple other designs. These are the other versions of the hot air balloon that I used in April. All of the designs are still going to start out the same way with that same base circle shape, small cylinder at the bottom, and then connecting the two. But for this one, after you draw the vertical stripes, you're also going to draw some horizontal stripes, again following the curve of the hot air balloon. And this gives you a nice grid pattern and it makes it look very 3D. But what gives it a little bit of pizzazz is when you color it in. So as I'm coloring it in, I'm kind of doing a diagonal pattern, diagonal checkerboard pattern, and almost doing an ombre. So I'm starting out with the darker shades and then going slowly lighter. I think this is a fun way to color in your hot air balloons, and it gives it a lot of visual interest. Obviously you can change out the color palette depending on what you're going for, but I went for sort of a monochrome look. The next couple of hot air balloon designs are going to start out with a different base than the other ones. Instead of outlining straight in with the fine liner and doing kind of like that rounded shape, we're actually going to go in and do these elongated teardrop shapes and fan them out. It's almost as if you're drawing a seashell. So I'm making sure that there's bumps at the top and then pulling it down towards that bottom small little oval. And once you erase the outline, it looks like this. Again, I think of a seashell shape. The rest is the same, like the strings and the basket, but I think this makes your hot air balloon look a little bit more complex. This is like the level 2 version of the hot air balloons, and I don't know, it looks more 3D to me. I think it's cool. And I wanted to show you guys a couple different ways that you can fill in the pattern. So the first way, and my favorite way, is to do this zigzag chevron shape. And something to note is that as I'm doing the zigzags, I'm actually curving the lines. It's not like a straight line. And again, that gives it more of a 3D shape, almost as if, you know, the pattern is rounded. And then you're just going to repeat that multiple times and color it in. Another thing, when I'm coloring it in, I'm sticking to a pattern, and I'm also kind of keeping in mind the light source. So you'll see that one side of that V shape is darker than the other side, and it makes it look like the sun is coming in from the top left, and I'm doing that for both rows of the pattern. I hope this makes sense, but I feel like you guys can see it and kind of understand what I'm saying. One side of that zigzag pattern is darker than the other. This next one, again, start out with your seashell shaped hot air balloon, and instead of doing some zigzags, we're actually going to be doing some curved bumps all along the center. and then we're going to flip it and do some concave bumps underneath it, and that kind of creates a center stripe. I repeated it again just to create a little bit of a border. And then to color it in, I choose 3 colors, one for the center, another one for the border of that center stripe, and then for the base of the hot air balloon. Feel free to add even more colors if you want. I actually went back to the other hot air balloon and just colored it in to show you guys a more standard way of filling it in. I almost did like an ombre vertical stripe pattern, but I think all of these look really nice together and complement each other nicely. As usual, it's time for me to show you some different styles of drawing hot air balloons because obviously my method of doodling it is not the only way, so I wanted to show you guys a couple other ways. This first one, I'm just using a thicker fine liner. Changing up the thickness of your fine liner can really change the style of your drawing. When you use a thicker one, it looks more bold and graphic. I'm even filling it in with the black to add to that bold cartoon punch almost, and it ends up looking very almost like clip art. And on the flip side, the next design I actually used a thinner fine liner, which allowed me to add a lot more details to the design of the hot air balloon. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of little tiny ornate patterns and zigzags and dots, which I really liked the look of and I had a lot of fun doing. I actually didn't color this one in because I liked the look of it with just the fine liner. I think it looks very elegant, but I could definitely see a cover page that is filled with like all of these ornate hot air balloons and every single one is different. I think that would be really, really beautiful. For the next one, love a good negative space doodle, so I'm not even using a fine liner at all. We're just using some straight up Crayola Super Tips markers and allowing the solid blocks of the shape to dictate the shape of the hot air balloon. For the next couple of styles, I'm just showing you guys some different elements that you can add on top of these standard hot air balloon doodles just to add a little something extra. So here I'm adding kind of like this ribbon across the center of the seashell shaped hot air balloon, and I think it looks very cute. It looks almost like a fairy tale hot air balloon. For this, I would recommend sketching out those hanging, draping C shapes beforehand because you're going to have to outline those before you actually do the hot air balloon shape, if that makes sense. Just trust me, pencil, it'll turn out way better. For the next one, when I'm outlining the hot air balloon shape, I'm actually making it more circular, and then I'm drawing these straight lines down towards an added small oval, and it makes it look like the strings are sort of attached to the hot air balloon outside and not so much at the very bottom. I feel like it's better if you just look at it for this one, but again, I added a couple different tassels and ribbons, and I feel like these look like circus balloons, which I think is really cool as well, and it's a bit more whimsical than the other ones in my opinion. I did another version of the more circular hot air balloon, except this one I actually straight up drew a circle. It's not even a teardrop anymore. And I went in with my fine liner and did some more ornate patterns similar to that other black and white one. Except this time I added a oval at the bottom and put the lines, which were the strings, straight down to attach them. And again, this is a more detailed version of drawing a hot air balloon, so might take a little bit of getting used to. I think I still need to practice it, but it was pretty fun to make. For the last ones, you're just going to create a circle with some watercolor or a marker, and then using your fine liner over top after it dries to do some quick hot air balloon patterns. And I think the charm of these ones is leaving some parts of the circle not outlined and just leaving it with the watercolor shape, which I think looks really cool and more illustrative. So I had a lot of fun doing these watercolor ones, and this is a very quick way to doodle as well because, you know, you don't need to add a lot of details to it. But yeah, those are all of the different styles of hot air balloons that I came up with. Alright everyone, so that was how to draw my version of hot air balloons. Again, if you haven't seen my April plan with me and bullet journal setup, I'll link it above as well as down below. I can't wait to see you guys put these doodles to use. I'm sure they're all gonna look beautiful and amazing as usual. If you do want some more doodling and art inspo, or if you want to send me some recreations, you can follow me over on Instagram. Be sure to tag me in any recreations that you do. I always love seeing them. And of course, if you don't want to miss a new video from me, you can click that bell button down below. But anyways, I hope all of you guys have an awesome day. Keep doodling, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye everyone.